Hi, everybody, and welcome to Attendance Bias. I am your host, Brian Weinstein. Today, we continue our mini-series of previewing each venue on Phish's 2026 summer tour with a newish venue in a longtime favorite Phish town, the Empower Federal Credit Union Amphitheater at Lakeview in Syracuse, New York. But for the purposes of this episode, we're just going to call it Lakeview. Other than Walnut Creek, this is the only venue to host just one Phish show this summer, but it has all the makings to be a special show. Today's guest, Beth Ann Kempf, helps explain why. Phish has played Lakeview just twice leading into the show this summer, but their history in Syracuse goes all the way back to 1989. In fact, you could argue that it goes back even farther because Jon Fishman is from the area, and the band remembers that seemingly every time they play there. A recurring theme of today's discussion is that the onstage banter in virtually every show played in Syracuse, going all the way back to the late 80s, which was just a few years after Fishman graduated high school. The band always recognizes Fishman whenever they play Syracuse. On top of that, Beth Ann tells us about the amphitheater itself, along with plenty of things to do in and around Syracuse, should you find yourself looking for things to do in the Salt City before or after the show. She's been seeing the band since 1991 and has lived near Syracuse for most of her adult life. She's an excellent tour guide for anyone hitting this show. So let's dive deep into central New York and just north of the Finger Lakes region with Beth Ann Kempf as we prepare for Phish's show at the Lakeview Amphitheater on July 21st, 2026. Beth Ann, welcome to Attendance Bias. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for having me.
Happy to have you to hear about, quote, Empower Federal Credit Union Amphitheater at Lakeview. Right, that's I don't think I could remember that full name if I tried. But Phish is playing there this coming summer, July 21st. It's in Syracuse, and we'll get into this, but a town or a city with a long Phish history. And I'm looking forward to it. I will not be there, but I have a scattered history with Syracuse. So I can't wait to talk to you as a native of the area. So what is your history with the Syracuse area, whether or not you actually live within the city limits of Syracuse?
Well, I live about 35 minutes southeast of Syracuse, near Cazenovia, New York. But my daughter and son-in-law live in East Syracuse. So I'm here every day watching my grandson. But we grew up in Horseheads and then moved up to central New York in like 1997, I think.
So for any listeners who are not from New York State, you need to know that people who are from, I would say, north of Westchester are very, very particular about which area of New York in which they live. So Syracuse is definitely central New York. I went to college in Buffalo, which will be quick to remind you, residents of Buffalo, and I'll do my best accent. Sorry to those of you who live there. It's not upstate, it's Western New York, right? So Syracuse is central New York, closer to the Finger Lakes. Buffalo is Western New York. And then above that is what would you call like Oswego?
I don't know.
Maybe that's upstate.
I think upstate is north of Westchester.
See, that's how I grew up. But people who live in those areas are very particular about sectionalizing New York State. But we don't want to get too far off. We are in Syracuse for this show. And the first thing I'll ask you about this venue, is it just Lakeview? I mean, it's Empower Federal Credit Union Amphitheater, blah, blah, blah. But is it just like Great Woods is Great Woods and Jones Beach is Jones Beach, no matter how many corporate sponsors there are? Has it been known as Lakeview since it opened in 2015?
I mean, maybe it's coming that way as Lakeview, but it was the amphitheater or the fairgrounds because it's part of the New York State Fair. So I think that's what started it. So I don't really know. I mean, Lakeview, I think is common, not more common now. It was St. Joseph's Amphitheater before that. And so I don't know if it has a name yet.
I think because I know the fairgrounds. That's when I was in college in Buffalo. That was what we'd drive by, right? We'd be going to Buffalo. We'd go on 690 right near Baldwinsville and do a little loop around until we would get onto 90 going west, right? We would go like right through Syracuse, right through Rochester, and end up in Buffalo. So I remember seeing signs for the fairgrounds, and that's all it was called at the time. But I have not yet been to Lakeview Amphitheater. It looks absolutely gorgeous from the images that I've seen. I've only heard good things about the venue itself. I'm quasi familiar with Syracuse itself. I picture Syracuse, and the last time I was there, I have to admit, was about, I don't know, 20 years ago, 22 years ago when I graduated college. And I was mostly in the university area visiting friends or maybe going to a concert somewhere in the downtown area. My memory of Syracuse is a bunch of brutalist buildings, mostly concrete and glass, with kind of bumpy roads going around with a lot of bars all around. To be fair, I've never been there in the summer. So does my image of kind of a dark gray sky city with mostly concrete buildings and bars hold up, or can you educate me? What is Syracuse like for people who haven't been there?
The dark, cloudy sky is a definite definition of us, of Syracuse. I really think that downtown has started to revitalize. There's some really cool shops down there, right near Armory Square and around there. There's tons of bars. There's dispensaries. There's some really fun coffee places. There's some really great new restaurants that are popping up. So it's not as dark as it was before.
I feel the same way about Rochester. I went there fairly recently. I think it was last summer or last spring with my wife. And when I was going to Rochester, when I was in college, I was seeing a ton of concerts there. And it was always dark. It was kind of like driving to Mordor in a sense that we would leave in the daylight. By the time we got there, it was always dark and it was just cold. And I don't mean to just crap all over Rochester, but I went there fairly recently and it's like, oh, the Genesee Brewery opened a tasting room and 2 floors of a restaurant. And it's, oh, this place just used to be a factory with like steam or smoke coming out of the smokestacks. It was very depressing, a very kind of middle America 1960s, like Joe versus the volcano opening. Like it wasn't a very joyful place. So I'm glad to hear that there's kind of revitalization going on in Syracuse, which is great. For any fans who are coming to this show, but let's say they've never been to Syracuse, any recommendations, things they should do, places they should see, types of food they should try out, anything at all? Show off your city a little bit.
We were recently at the Noble Cellar, which is an amazing restaurant. They have a little bar there too. That's right in Syracuse. There's Alto Cinco, which is in Westcott, and that's a really cool place to walk around. Really, if you're into more of a hipster, vibe. There's, if you want to go outside of Syracuse, there's Cazenovia, Myers Creek. There's lots of breweries and distilleries around there. Lots of trails to walk around if you go anywhere outside of Syracuse. And then Skinny Atlas obviously is a really great place to go.
Do you have any types of food that are specific to Central New York or the area? Anything that, like any types of dishes? Like I always used to like to get a garbage plate when I was in Rochester. Does that extend that far west from Rochester? Can I get a good garbage plate in Syracuse?
I'm not sure about that. I know that you can get salt potatoes, which are like little tiny potatoes that are, especially in the summer, there's lots of food around here.
Well, let's take a look at the venue history. According to its website, Lakeview opened its doors for the first time on September 3rd, 2015, for a Miranda Lambert concert, and it positions itself as, quote, Central New York's premier destination to see today's biggest stars in a world-class outdoor amphitheater, end quote. Its capacity is 17,500. It's made up as a typical shed with a reserved seating up front and then a big lawn behind. I always considered Darien Lake to be the upstate New York amphitheater stop for big touring acts, but I don't want to get too much in the weeds like we just did earlier for Central New York versus Western New York. But I looked at this summer's upcoming lineup for each venue. Lakeview has big time acts, and I do consider Weird Al a big time act, Mumford and Sons, Kid Cudi, and there's more, while Darien Lake features mostly country acts. So in your opinion, has Lakeview kind of displaced Darien Lake, or are they far apart enough? It's about 120 miles to serve two different markets. When you think your area, Did you like grow up going to Darien Lake, or is Lakeview now the stop for major touring acts for the region?
I think Darien Lake is far enough away. It may be only be 120 miles, but I know it takes longer than 2 hours to get there. So that would be a long drive back. We also have SPAC, which is near Albany, but I think that they're far enough away that they can get. I don't think the same acts play at each venue the same year, but I do think you can get a variety of shows from all three places.
About how far is it of a drive to go from Syracuse to Saratoga? I would guess about 4 hours.
I don't think it's that long. Maybe two and a half.
Oh,
Maybe a little bit longer if you're going to stop, I think.
all right, good. The amphitheater, Lakeview, is on the shores of Lake Onondaga. So if you're far back enough, and this is just based on the pictures that I've seen, it's like a micro version of the gorge. Like you get a really beautiful view of the concert itself surrounded by water behind it. And according to Polestar, the venue has ranked in the top 50 of worldwide ticket sales for amphitheaters since it opened all the way up to this year. So they must be doing something right. What are your favorite memories of seeing any shows, Phish or otherwise, at Lakeview?
The sunset is unreal because you've got the water, you've got boats that are out there. You may not want to swim in those waters of Onondaga Lake, but because it was totally polluted and they're working on it. I will say that. The sound is really good. And even on the lawn, sometimes when you're at an amphitheater outside, the lawn is pretty steep. And this one is not. It's really great. It's really great to be anywhere in the venue. I will say a little personal thing about the Phish show that we were at the last time in 23, I think it was. My kids went and they're older, and this is the first time that they've seen Phish, and that was so awesome to have all three of them there. And my son, after Happy Birthday to Lisa Simpson, turned to me 5 minutes in and said, "Oh, I get it, Mom."
Oh, that's the
That's
best.
my favorite memory of Lakeview. But like I said, the sound, of course, the people are amazing, and like you get with any Phish show. And I just love being there and being outside and just being on the lawn or inside.
What are some of the best shows that you've seen other than Phish?
Apparently, I forgot that I was at the first concert because it was Miranda Lambert. I saw, which was really a great show, but very different from Phish. I saw Dave Matthews there last summer, I think. They're also fun.
Is the lawn as enormous as the pictures make it look to be? Because I like to believe you that the sound is good anywhere, but it doesn't matter on the lawn. Or do you need to get in there up front? What do you think? What's your preference?
So the shows that I've been to, there's always been enough room up on the lawn, and you're able to move around and do whatever. And it's not as packed as other amphitheaters that I've been to. So I think there's a lot of room. And then there's like vendors up on the top.
That's good to know. That's good to know because no matter where you are on the lawn, you have to orient yourself, right? You got to get your bearings, know where to go if it's whether it's a bathroom stop or get something to drink. So go up to the top if you're on the lawn, and I'm guessing there's kind of a walkway between the lawn and the reserve seats. Is that about right? Like there is at Saratoga?
Mhm. It's on the right hand side that you come into.
All right, great. Other than the view and the location itself, is it a typical shed? Is there anything that makes Lakewood Amphitheater unique compared to, let's say, Saratoga or Darien Lake?
I don't know. I think you feel like at Saratoga, all of the trees surround you, so you don't feel as open. Darien Lake is just a space, so you have the
Like the
amusement park
amusement
on
park?
the other
Yeah.
side. But I think it's just so open. It's just a really nice feeling to be there.
And what is the area around the Lakeview Amphitheater like? Is it like in downtown Syracuse? I know it's next to the lake itself, hence the name, but is it easy to get public transportation there? Should all fans plan on having a car or getting a designated driver or ride share? What is it like around? Is it walkable at all? What should anyone's plan be when it's getting ready to go to show?
definitely you have to drive. You can park at the fairgrounds, which is quite a bit of a walk. I know that there was trouble in the beginning with getting out. We haven't had any trouble we didn't wait, hours and hours getting out. They did have a shakedown street the last time that we went, which was really nice. It was far enough away from the venue that you could do that, go to your car, and then go into the show.
Hi, everybody. Brian here to welcome you to the set break of today's episode of Attendance Bias. First, thank you for listening. And second, just a quick reminder to tell you that even though Attendance Bias comes to you for free, it does take a lot of work and it does take quite a bit of money to keep the lights on here at production. So I just wanted to ask a small favor if you could support the podcast in any number of the following ways. If you could leave a review or a rating of it on whichever podcast app you use. If you could spread the word, telling a friend or someone you think may be interested in it about it. Or probably the most concrete way is to go to www.buymeacoffee.com/attendancebias and donate however much you can financially to help with the continuing costs of Attendance Bias. So thank you again so much for listening, and I hope you enjoy the second half of today's episode. So let's dive right into Phish themselves. Phish has a long, although modest, history in Syracuse. In the late 80s and early 90s, when the band was in their, what I like to call their college Main Street era, they targeted central New York for like dozens of gigs, maybe hundreds of gigs, due to the many colleges in the region. But also, the area is not that far from Burlington for a dedicated band in a van. It would be like 3 hours to a gig. Now you have the entire SUNY system at your disposal and the towns in which they're located. So although this venue is not technically within the borders of Syracuse proper, the band made their debut in the area in 1989 with a show at the Orange Grove on May 13th, 1989. Do you have any memories? Have you ever heard of the Orange Grove before?
No, my husband said he had heard of it, but I don't.
Yeah, it seems like a typical college Main Street bar that people who were there loved it, and then it probably disappeared without a trace at some point in the mid-90s. The show itself from 1989 has a ton of stage banter since Fishman is originally from the area. I think he's from Henrietta.
He is actually from DeWitt.
Oh, DeWitt. Right. So how far is DeWitt from Syracuse itself?
Like 10 minutes.
Okay. So if someone said, oh, he's from Syracuse, same difference.
I think that Trey has actually said you're a Syracuse native and then gone on to talk about Moses DeWitt, where he went to school.
Right. And that became his nickname for a little while in this time period in the late 80s. So I wouldn't be surprised if Fishman gets a little bit of love at this show. Let's put a pin in that, and we'll get back to you after it happens. If there's a Fishman song or something along those lines, maybe they'll play Ass Handed. Who knows? But he's from the area. So this show on May 13th, 1989, Fishman says that he's home to embarrass himself in front of his entire graduating class.
Thank you very much.
So how many people here graduated from Syracuse University today? Not that many. Well, here's one for you. the degree.
And then later that year, they came back just a couple months later on October 13th, 1989, where the band played at a club called Copperfields, which I have never heard of. I have to imagine it no longer exists. There's a lot of confusion about this show because there's missing audio, there's partial set lists, mislabeled tapes, even the possibility that it's like a legendary or mythological show that it was played at a different venue, back in the days when not everything was taped and not everything was properly labeled. The show at least that's attributed to this date, contains tons of Gamehenge songs as more banter between Trey and the audience.
I've alternated my meager flock to the shores of the Baltic Sea. The teeth of time have stowed the rhyme of how things should be. My cave, my house, my turning wheel, my little docking pup. The march of Colonel Forbin and his fleet hound called McGruff. Grime of countless work dogs has collected in my sink. I tie my nose with spandex hose before I get a drink. We lie on frozen warthogs with its poison in our minds, while the ferns that spot our children are encased in orange rind. Are the reasons people and their clans.
And the band didn't stay away from Syracuse for very long. The next gig in the area was May 9th, 1992. You mentioned this at the Syracuse Armory, which is in the heart of downtown Syracuse. By this time, in May 9th, in 1992, they were at the beginning of their kind of ascent toward a full-on touring band. And the set list and the notes are much more structured than the previous ones. Like, it's more well-rounded and modern. If you put in a tape, you would probably recognize more songs than from the late 80s. Like, Fishman's mom is in the audience. She even sings a verse when they play I Didn't Know.
I didn't know that I was that far gone. I didn't know that I was that far gone. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. You may have seen her wandering around the parking lot. You may have seen her in the Syracuse record store, standing around the Phish section. Ladies and gentlemen, for a happy Mother's Day gift, we're now going to have Henrietta's mother do the ceremonial Mother's Day vacuum cleaning solo. Mimi Fishman, let's hear it for her. Woo!
Aren't they great? All my sons and their great crew who makes them look so good. And for the crew. There were some articles in the paper about some of the stories about John's high school days. Well, he stole a few that I wanted to use.
Hey, Mom, how about a vacuum solo?
There was the time when I walked in his room. Always wants to hear about going in John's room. Right, Trey?
Play the vacuum, Mimi. Go ahead, play that vacuum.
I went in his room when he was 5
The band plays 2 full sets, unlike the previous shows, and Syracuse seems to be a personal, sentimental favorite, not just another stop on their tour in any given year. When was the first time you saw the band?
I saw them in 1991 at Potsdam, where I went to college for Earth Day. And there were about 5 of us that went in. And of course, being a college student, we had no money. So the 5 of us went in as a donation. I think we gave $5. There might have been I don't know, 150 to 200 people in the beginning. And then by the second set, there were probably about, I don't know, 80 or 90 people in there. We were right up in the front. They were on their trampolines. I think, I'm not sure, that they did their little exercise glide thing with their little booties. And yeah, that was amazing. Then we went up to Burlington because my husband went to UVM, and we went to go see them because they were playing, and they were sold out.
Right, as was typical in that time period. And just for the audience's knowledge, Potsdam is a tiny school, even within the SUNY system, when there's already a lot of small schools. Like, I don't know, New Paltz is not a very large school, or Oneonta is not a very large school. So to go to Potsdam, that's a tiny show within a tiny school.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, absolutely. I don't know how we got them there.
Well, I was curious, how did you first get into them? How did you hear about Phish, or were you just on campus and this band was playing nearby?
So like I said, my husband went to UVM, and we started listening to their tapes, and then we saw them the first time and we were hooked.
So after that show, I'm sorry, not the Potsdam one, but the one in the Syracuse Armory in 1992, they came back just a couple months later, July 10th, 1992, for one set as part of the Horde tour, which was their style at the time, right? Horizons of rock music developing everywhere. They headlined, of course, just one set though. And then next is probably the best known show from the whole area, I would argue, November 4th, 1994, at the Onondaga War Memorial Auditorium. Did you go to that show?
I did not. We were not up here at that time. And I think that was the year that we got married, and there were a couple things very a little busy.
Right. Well, congratulations.
Okay.
I say that, though, that's probably the best known show from the area, maybe because I had the tape and I listened to it over and over again. To me, this is like a classic 94 show. It's like at a perfectly, quote, in between sized venue. The capacity of the War Memorial Auditorium is 7,000. It's Machine Gun Trey just killing it on guitar from start to finish. There's a Colonel Forbin's ascent into Mockingbird with the narration that includes the vibration of life.
Welcome to the show, everybody. Okay, we're going to start things off right now the only way that we know how, and that is to give you, that's right, people, the vibration of life is going to start everything off here right now. We're going to take it from there. I think you've been hearing me talking about the vibration of life a lot lately. It's because we've really been doing some research into the vibration of life and coming up with a lot of things. Now, for those of you who don't know what the vibration of life is, first I'll tell you about it, then I'll give it to you. Everything that we see and hear is a vibration. So all day long, you're being bombarded with vibrations. There's radio waves right now and TV waves zipping through your bodies. There's electricity and sound and light. Now, sounds vibrate at a certain frequency. For instance, the frequency that Mike is giving you right now, he's trying to get it tuned in there. You got it? Okay, now if you start doubling the sound frequencies, you get higher and higher up into the light frequencies. Now, light is also vibrations. So what we're going to try to do here is we're going to give you the vibration of life. We've realized that the sound vibration of life Oh wait, I'm sorry, I'm not finished telling you here. There's a certain vibration that people theorize is the glue that holds the universe together. Now, when people who are healers, they say that their hands vibrate at this rate. It's 7 beats per second, and that the universal tone is 7 beats per second. So by doing two different tones that clash with each other, we can hit you with the 7 beats per second and fill you with the vibration of lights, which will tune you in with the universe, charge you up, and get you ready for the rest of the show.
There's a very creative mics into simple, backs into mics, into Tila, Weekapog. Like, this is the show I think of when I think of Phish in Syracuse. And then there was a long break due to touring schedules and then lack thereof for 5 years in the mid-2000s. The band didn't return to Syracuse until November 22nd, 2009, when they played the War Memorial at On Center, which is, by the way, a completely different venue than the Onondaga War Memorial Auditorium. Were you at that show in 2009?
I was not.
On the bandwagon? Like, when did you get back on the train, so to speak?
One of my favorite songs.
Yeah, I hope they play it for you.
Me too. So we saw them a bunch of times, like following them around just up New York State, and then had a family and then got back into them. And then they took their break. And then as soon as, when did they come back?
2009, yeah.
2009. We went and we started, I think we went to SPAC and we started, and we just haven't stopped. I mean, we do the shows that we can do. And,
I think a lot of us are that way now.
We're chasing 100 right now.
Oh. Do you have the count of what this summer in at Lakeview will be?
So I have 85. So by the end of this year, I think I'll be in the 90s. So.
Oh, well, congrats, or preemptive congratulations.
Yeah, hopefully. I know. We'll get there, but.
So I remember when they scheduled this tour, the November tour in 2009, I chose not to go because I was finally working a full-time job, a one-off all the way in Syracuse. I was living on Long Island at the time, and that's a pretty long drive. That's like 6 hours on a good day, right? Just getting out of New York City could take 2 hours. So hopefully at the time I was like, I don't know if I can make it all the way up there during the work week, by the way. It just didn't fit in my schedule because there was also Albany, which was coming up around Thanksgiving weekend, and Madison Square Garden 3 nights the week after. So I was listening to every show that they played in 2009, especially that fall tour. This show, the 2009 one in Syracuse, left really no impression on me, except they did play Big Black Furry Creatures from Mars, and Trey kept shouting out to Fishman and Fishman's dad for being back home. He kept screaming.
Jon Fishman, Syracuse native. On the snare drum. James DeWitt High School, Jon Fishman. Jon Fishman, let's hear it. Jon Fishman's dad is here tonight. Let's hear it for Jon Fishman's dad.
So I'm really anticipating some of that coming in. And at long last, we are at the venue for today, Lakeview Amphitheater. So to date, Phish has played 2 shows at Lakeview, July 10th, 2016 and July 23rd, 2023. Both times I remember when Phish played here, more of the online chatter was more about the view and the quality of the venue as opposed to the shows themselves. So you mentioned that you were at the second show, right? July 23rd and 23?
I was at both of them. Mhm.
Oh, great. What were some of your memories? Let's start with the first one. Do you remember in 2016, July 10th?
I remember that we were so excited to go because it's so close and we could just come and have the day and then, really have a really good time and then not worry about where we were staying or getting out to where we were staying. So that was really fun. And a lot of our friends came. I just remember it being so fun to be there. Oh, Jon Fishman played he played some things and he was like really talking, which he doesn't usually do. So that was really fun to hear.
Jon Fishman. Thank you. I wrote that. Let's do another one that you wrote. Janesville do in high school. A new song by Jon Fishman. This is called Friends. It's called Friends? Yes, Janesville do in high school. That's cool. It's where Moses Stewart comes from, actually. Anybody out there? Any Janesville Duluth people out there? Anybody friends of Jon Fishman out there? Two of my friends. All right, this one is about outer space, which is my favorite subject.
And so when you say you got to spend the day, what is there to do? If you get to town early, for anyone listening, if they get to Syracuse, let's say, whether it's a flight or they're just driving overnight or they're leaving from elsewhere in New York State and they get an early start, let's say they get to Syracuse at 10 a.m. What would you recommend if you were the tour guide?
I would go around Syracuse and just walk around. There's so many things to do and so many shops and stuff. But if you wanted to get out of town a little bit and just have a nice, there's lots of walking space. Onondaga Lake Parkway, which is what it's on the other side of the lake. And if you go over there, there's walking. Actually, I'm sorry. You can walk right on Onondaga Lake Parkway, right from the venue, right from Lakeview. And you could walk all the way around, or you could bike, or you could do whatever. And there's some at the top of the lake, there's some nice restaurants and stuff if you wanted to just stay around there.
And the most recent show at the venue, July 23rd, 2023, what are some of your memories of going to that one?
That was so fun being with, once again, family and friends. And it was a gorgeous night. And from what I remember, because we were inside, so it doesn't matter. But I just remember it's just such a great, it's nice to have a hometown show and to be able to just go and enjoy the band that you love the most and just have fun.
Welcome, friends of Jon Fishman, Syracuse native Jon Fishman. Welcome. Today is Lisa Simpson. Lisa Simpson made my Syracuse colored dress here. It's her birthday. She's in the audience. Please see her say happy birthday.
you have the same anticipation for this coming summer? Is it going to be kind of like a family reunion? When I say family, I mean, extended friends, but is it going to be that sort of everyone get together? Have people been texting you already?
Oh, yes. As soon as it was announced, we were talking about it. We have our friend. That's another thing. Our friends come and stay with us. So that's really fun. So they don't have to, spend some money on a hotel, and then we get to spend more time with them too.
Well, Beth Ann, before we wrap up, you have the microphone. It's your opportunity. Show off your city. Anything about Syracuse or the surrounding area that you didn't get to say, that you wished you wanted to, but didn't get the opportunity. Sell your city a little bit. Why should people come to this show?
Syracuse is just there's really nice people here, and there's so many opportunities to go eat and to be in nature. There's lots of water around us, lots of different lakes. There's all the Finger Lakes if you wanted to go a little bit further. There's just lots of activity, outdoor activity, kayaking, biking, walking, whatever you want to do. And then Syracuse just has a lot of culture inside, and I think that's growing a lot. And I wish you would all come see it. It's really fun.
Well, Beth Ann, thank you for giving us the lowdown, not necessarily only about Phish's history and your personal history with the band, but about the region itself. So anyone thinking about going to, I'll just call it Lakeview. I can't get that whole mouthful out about Empower, Federal, whatever. But about Lakeview on July 21st in Syracuse, it seems like there's more to it than just the show. So I think it's one of only two, I'll double check that, one night shows at the venue, like one of the only stops where there's only a one night show that the band isn't playing two. So those of you who are thinking about it, maybe you're on the fence, it certainly sounds like it's worth it. And Beth Ann, thank you for taking the time to give us the history and the background of this venue.
Thank you so much. I've really enjoyed it.
And that's it for today's episode about Phish's upcoming show at the Empower Federal Credit Union blah, blah, blah Lakeview Amphitheater in Syracuse. I'd like to thank Beth Ann Kempf for joining me today, Phish.in for the multiple recordings used in today's episode, Phish.net for all of their information, and the Mockingbird Foundation for everything they do to support children's music education. If you enjoy Attendance Bias, please support the show. You can visit www.buymeacoffee.com/attendancebias and donate anything you can. You can also support Attendance Bias by following me on social media. Thank you again so much for listening, and we'll see you next time on Attendance Bias.